I'm back with another video. So yeah,
Yo,
I believe it is time for us to realize that people who do diss tracks overall have the worst diss tracks believing that they're lyricists. Actually, I don't even know if you can consider them as lyricists because most of the time they either use words that have no meaning to the diss or they just simply don't know what they're talking about and just use words that rhyme or whatever. To be honest, it doesn't even sound like a diss. It's just them being pretentious and clickbaiting for views and a bunch of kiss asses who support how good these wannabe rappers are. The reason why I am bringing this topic into this conversation is for people to have a bit more of an understanding that wannabe rappers should stop doing diss tracks since it's horrible and cringe. For example, there have been quite a few or maybe a lot of fake Eminem diss tracks towards music artists that disrespect him. And I for one would like to point out how poorly these lyrics are. There is this one diss track that came out 2 months ago and I find it really, and I mean really garbage. The song is called Eminem Shut the Fuck Up Game This by this guy. Now, I listened to the song and it really just made me want to cut off my ears so then I won't go through so much pain hearing something so awful. And this also includes him mimicking Eminem's voice. But the one thing that irks me more is the fact how he used each cadence ending with "all" just to make it rhyme and know what he's talking about, when clearly it doesn't make any sense overall. It's kind of like how Jake Paul made a diss track to Dana White, but instead starts off with the lyrics from 8 Mile when Rabbit went against Papa Doc, thinking that it was a good way to end Dana's career. I know for a fact that old Eminem never used the same cadence throughout his time rapping each and every single one of his songs that he wrote. It's just very foolish for people to do things like that, and it really needs to stop.
pussy.
You know how Drake dropped his new album, Honestly Nobody, a few weeks ago? Well, I do. And I listened to a couple of songs, and they were just so bad and boring that I kind of wished for DJ Academics to do the same thing that he did when he listened to Certified Lover Boy on his Twitch stream and said that Drake's the go and then falling asleep, which is honestly the best thing that has ever happened on Twitch and would most likely be in the history books. I believe it's fair to say that I've never been a fan of Drake, and there are a few old Drake songs that I did enjoy, like Over, Forever, Headlines, even a few collaboration songs. Still doesn't consider me as a Drake fan, by the way. But anyways, that isn't the point. The fact is that when I first listened to one of Drake's songs from his new album, I just wanted to go to sleep. The song that I first listened to was called Falling Back, and I heard about it from an article that headlined about Drake's new music video and how he is marrying 23 women, and even though it was scripted, it still surprised me. The worst part is that I watched the music video, and it also bored the hell out of me. That isn't the only worst part about this song. The beat sounded like he hired Skrillex and told him that instead of creating one of his awesome beats, just make the most shittiest and boring ass techno beats for this song. Luckily, this video gave a bit of entertainment where he did his secret handshakes to all of his wives after their vows and putting the ring in their fingers. I mean, I guess that's how we kiss the bride nowadays, right? It wasn't until I came to realize that Drake's singing does sound a lot like John Bennett from the movie Ted when he was singing the theme song from Octopussy to Lori and then getting booed off stage. Before I move on, as I mentioned, I did listen to a couple of his songs from his album, and they're all still boring, that's no lie. But the part that made me laugh so much was when 21 Savage just said pussy for about 3 seconds in Jimmy Cooks, which I don't understand why he did that. Now, did Drake receive a lot of backlash towards his album? Yes. Did he respond back to those who disliked the album? Of course. And what was his response, including those who support his album?
Good if you don't get it yet, it's all good, that's what we do.
Again, I'm just not a fan of Drake, and I don't want to waste my time listening to his album. I already did that with Certified Lover Boy, and I just couldn't stand it. So yeah.
I felt today was going to be the day that human rights were finally recognized.
This final topic that I'm going to be talking about is something very serious. It's something that I find disgusting and outrageously stupid. Yes, I'm talking about abortions being overturned in some states. As you may know, women are stripped away from their rights from having an abortion by the douchebags in the Supreme Court. And if any woman intends to get an abortion, hell, if a doctor or a gynecologist go through the process of removing a fetus out of a woman's womb, then they'll most likely be facing jail time. I don't know exactly how long women and gynecologists will be serving in jail for abortions, but to make it really simple, there's not going to be a get out of jail free card for murdering a baby when it's literally just a fetus inside of there. Now, you may already know why the Supreme Court made that shitty decision, and it's very obvious who to point out, so don't bother asking why unless you're a child and don't know any better. And yes, I'm talking about God. Religious people bring God into every single discussion, especially on gay rights, or in this issue, abortions. when we all know it's literally an excuse to control how a woman should live their life and being forced to actually bring something into this world. You want to know what's the most scumbag thing about this? It's the fact how Democrats put the fault on voters for not voting enough Democrats to fight back when it's obviously clear that they're there to just steal money from you. Joe Biden wants Americans to quit voting for Republicans and keep voting Democrats as if they're going to be changing anything. And you want to know something that I barely found out during Obama's campaign? Is that there was a bill that Obama promised to pass to protect women's rights for abortions. And later on, he basically said, fuck you, I ain't doing shit to protect women's rights because it's not a necessity, so haha. The sad part about this situation is AOC defending these scumbag Democrats for their incompetence and then pointing fingers at us, believing that we didn't do enough. Motherfuckers, you guys had years to codify Roe v. Wade, and you nobodies had the audacity to blame us for your actions when it's obviously your fault for not doing your job as politicians. So please take my advice and don't vote for these moderate Democrats because they're not going to do anything. And don't even listen to a single word that they say because one, they're full of shit, and two, they're just going to find a way to manipulate you all about how much Democrats care more about the American people than Republicans, even though both parties are exactly the same shit. To give a full disclosure about this issue, and I'm sorry to say this, but if we keep voting for people like Joe Biden and his colleagues, then nothing's going to be done at all. I mean, next in line will be gay rights being stripped away, and it's no surprise if the Supreme Court do decide on that. There's not going to be any change. Roe v. Wade would not be legal in this country whatsoever, and there's a high chance other rights that are from a liberal view would be taken away. These pretentious Democrats who claim that they're the party that cares so much for the people and not the money are just going to be bringing more of their fake speeches and bullshit tweets claiming that they've accomplished something when in reality they never did, while the media cover for their antics. Anyways, that is all I have to say in this video. It just seems really important to talk about this whole abortion situation and bring up other stuff to talk about as well. Let's hope we hear another fake Eminem diss track towards SCOTUS. So yeah, Alto out.